Hare Ram, Ram. Okay, so it's 6. We will start with our Kirtan. Hare Ram, 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 Ram. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Radha Govinda Das Swami Namine. Namaste Prabhupada Devam Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishe Shunyavadi Gramya Jindistarine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Gopal Krishna Swami Namine. Prabhupadasya Sahitya Ya Prakasya Vitirya Prachar Kritvan Sadhu Bhagavad-Padaya Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesa Sunyavadi Pasatya Disatarine. Om Agyan Timirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshuran Militan Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadhamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Utam Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsyam Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitamiksham. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenbandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Sapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrinda Vaneshwari Rushabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Vanchakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Jaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Bhaja Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasavi Gaur Bhattaruna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Ram Hare Hare Jai Vishnupad Paramhans Parivraj Kachai Ashtodarsad Sri Srimad Abhay Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai Anant Kori Vaishnav Vrind ki jai Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur ki jai Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advait Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gau Gopinath Shyam Kuna Radha Kun Giri Govardhan ki jai Sri Vrindavan Dham ki jai Sri Navadip Dham ki jai Ganga Mai ki jai Jamuna Mai ki jai Tulsi Devi ki jai Bhakti Devi ki jai Samveta Bhakta Vrundi ki jai. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. So everyone, welcome to our 18 days summer program, summarizing Bhagavad-Gita chapters one every day. So yesterday we summarized the chapter number 1. So all of us are familiar with Bhagavad-Gita. So I don't see any new face like yesterday's. So anyway, we will still do the same thing. So we'll start with little summarization of chapter 1. Who knows the name of the chapter 1? Titled as what? Padma knows that?
The chapter 1
Yes.
is the introduction of the Bhagavad-Gita.
Right. What is it titled? Prabhupada Maharaj has titled it as what?
It's about the two armies and like observing them.
Right. Observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. That is the title for the first chapter. Right. So yesterday we saw how the stage has come up to the battlefield. The story started long back. From Kuru Vams, and then it came to the battlefield. It is said that previously in Satya Yuga, the demons and the demigods, they were staying in a separate planets. All right. Then what happened in the Treta Yuga? They started staying on the same planet. All right. And then in Dwapar,
in the same house.
In the same family. All right. And then in Kali Yuga, in the same person. So what does that mean? That means the demonic mentality and the demigod mentality, the Asuri Prakriti is in our own self, because we are in Kali Yuga. All right. But there is Bhagavan Krishna has arranged so many ways by which we can elevate ourselves, get rid of birth and death, go to obtain moksha, like that. So Hari, Guru, Vaishnav, these are the methods by which Bhagavan Krishna delivers conditioned souls in Kali Yuga. Hari, Bhagavan Krishna himself, he is standing with Radhaji in our temple at Samarlin. Lord Ram is on one side with Sitaji, Lakshmana, Hanumanji. Other side, Lord Mahavishnu is there. So all these, they are there in order to deliver us. Hari, then Guru. Number 2 is Guru. This Guru is Srila Prabhupada, who has revolutionized spirituality of the all over the world. A lot of people. All right. So these Hari, Guru, and then Vaishnav. Vaishnav are the ones who put on tilak. Not only they put on tilak, they behave according to the Shastra, according to the teachings of Guru. And they go and preach. All right. So that Hari, Guru, Vaishnav, and then the Shastra, Bhagavad-Gita. So these 4 things, Hari, Guru, Vaishnav, Bhagavad-Gita, these 5. 2 Shastras, Bhagavad-Gita and Bhagavad. These things are there to help us get the maximum benefit, the eternal benefit of living a human form of life. The animals cannot. How many total species are there prescribed in Padma Puran? Who knows?
8.7 million.
8.4 million.
I mean, 8, yeah.
8.4 million. If you Google, it says 8.7. But according to our Shastra, it is 8.4 million. Out of these, how many million species or how many species are animal species, subhuman species?
8 million.
Yeah,
8 million, yes. 8 million species are subhuman. And only 400,000 species are the human species. And these human species have a special consciousness, which is differing from the animals. And what is that? The special prerogative of human consciousness is what?
Nation.
Huh?
but we can do bhakti.
Right. He's got discretion. All right. What is that discretion? Am I this body or I am something else? No animal can think that. All right. If you ask your dog, you cannot. But humans can. At one point of their consciousness, they can, whenever they see somebody dying, somebody dead, any living thing dead, they will think, is this the person I was talking to? Is lying here. Why is not talking to me? Right? So this special prerogative of consciousness is given to human form of life, and that constitutes 400,000 species of human beings, demigods, and other beings in the higher planets. All right. So all this analysis is also given in Srimad Bhagavatam. Along with this special prerogative, there is an injunction also. What is that injunction? That if you have this discretionary power, you should utilize it. If you don't utilize, you remain as an animal. All right. And because you have this prerogative and you still behave as an animal, you can commit crime, which are sins, and you will be punished for that. So which is that judiciary department? Who is the boss?
Durga.
No, judiciary department.
Oh, the justice. Okay, that's our Yamraj.
Yamraj and his assistant Chitragupta, they are the ones in charge of humans only. They don't care for the animals. They don't keep any records of their doings. But our activities, they keep every account of it. All right. And accordingly, they give you punishment and reward. All right. So Sukruti and Duskruti. So all this is background of understanding Bhagavad-Gita. All right. In the first chapter yesterday, we saw that the dialogue is taking place between two persons, which is outer dialogue, and the inner dialogue between two persons. So the outer dialogue was between who?
Sanjay and
Dhritarashtra. All right. And the inner dialogue was between
Arjuna and Krishna.
Lord Krishna and
Arjuna.
Arjuna. Is there anywhere in any slok Vyasadeva has said Sri Krishna Uvacha?
No.
What has he written there?
Sri Bhagavan Vacha.
He says Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. He doesn't mention Lord Krishna's name there. What does this mean? This means that the person who is speaking on the chariot of Arjuna is Bhagavan Krishna himself, but Vyasadeva is calling him Bhagavan. Bhagavan means the supreme personality of Godhead. All right. These three words you must remember. Supreme personality of Godhead. All right. So God is not Nirakar. God is person. Right? Just like the sun in the sky is an object, a round object, but it has also the rays coming up. Similarly, Lord Krishna is a person, and from his body, the Brahma effulgence come out. Yasya prabha prabhavato jagalanda koti kotis. So, Bhagavan Krishna, or ultimate truth, is both personal and impersonal. And this is propounded in Srimad Bhagavatam also. So, Bhagavan Krishna is person, like you and me, person. He has his individuality, and at the same time, he has his energies, which is known as Brahma. So, he is both person and imperson. In addition to this, person and imperson, he is also a third element. What is that? He is person, also imperson. In between, he is Paramatma, who is staying in everyone's heart. All living species is there, including trees and creepers, all is residing in their bodies. So these are the three things we have to understand like that. Okay. When we understood about the first chapter, the armies were arrayed because of some battlefield, on some battle was going to be, there were two parties fighting for something. So who were these two parties?
Pandavas and Kauravas.
Yes, Kauravas on one side, headed by Duryodhan, who was the son of blind king Dhritarashtra. On the other side, who was the most, the eldest person on this side? Yudhishthir, and Lord Krishna was the advisor. All right. So the scenario is set, and they were trying to negotiate peacefully, but Duryodhan did not agree, and then now the fight was going on, about to start. At that time, Arjun told Lord Krishna that please take me to the center of this battlefield. I want to see who are the ones who I have to fight with and kill them. Right? Arjun has ever been victorious. He has never been defeated so far. So he was confident he was going to win this war also. But when he saw some personalities on the other side, now some other kind of confusion started in his mind. So whom did he see on the other side?
Deshmukata, Dronacharya, Ashwatthama.
Yes, so all these people he saw, including Duryodhan and his 99 other brothers, he saw they said, oh, these are not my enemies. These are my relatives, actually my cousins. And this is my grandfather, this is my revered guru. So he was confused now that should I kill them or not? All right. So this is the scenario at which he gets confused. What was the most important reason he didn't want to fight? What was the most important reason he thought himself?
Sin.
He says, if I kill this, my grandfather, my guru, sin will overcome. All right, I'll be tainted with sin. So I don't want to fight and kill them. This was his main reason. All right. So Lord Krishna said that, it is your duty as a Kshatriya to fight this battle. You cannot go away, and you have to fight this battle under my order. Right? So Arjun say, I'm confused. I do not know what to do. So now I'm accepting you as my guru, and you tell me what to do. All right. So that's where the second chapter actually starts. All right. So I'll give some summary from what I have here, and then we will see in little detail like that. So in chapter 1 and in the beginning of chapter 2, Arjuna presents his arguments for refusing to fight. Basically, the main fear is sinful reaction of killing. This is what he is fearing. Now in chapter 2, after Arjuna surrenders to Lord Krishna and requests the Lord to instruct him, the Lord begins countering Arjuna's objections to the war. All right. So one by one, he is advising Arjuna not to avoid the fighting. First, Krishna analytically explains that no killing can actually take place because the eternal soul never dies. So this is the one thing which we should understand in our own life also. When a dear one dies, all right, you can see his body, and the body is lying exactly like a live person. Just recently, I was in New Jersey. I saw a relative of ours. He was in the coffin, and his face was about to smile, about to speak. All right. So there is a difference now, that the person, body, and the spirit soul are different. All right. So anything which dies, the body dies. Body takes birth and the body dies, but the spirit soul never. So that's the first and foremost fundamental teaching of Bhagavad-Gita, starting from chapter 2. What is that? What is that first fundamental?
The body dies, spirit is everlasting, eternal.
That's right. The body, matter dies, not the spirit soul. All right. Krishna then explains the fighting in his service is transcendental and will bring no sinful reaction. So second thing is, Arjun, whenever we do any any activity under the order of Lord Krishna, whether sinful or not, it will not bind us. All right. So this number two, you have to understand. As a spirit soul, you are inhabiting this body, and whatever activities which you do in this body, if they are dovetailed in the service of Lord Krishna, then they will not bind you to get another material body. On the contrary, it will do what?
Cleanse your Shukshma body,
Yes.
so that it's ready to go into another one.
That's right.
Based on what we are doing now.
Number one, even if it is sinful activity like killing relative, all right, even if it is sinful, it will not be, that sin will be counteracted by Lord Krishna, because he is the person who makes the law of karma. All right. So number one, that no sinful activity will go into your own account if you follow Lord Krishna's order. It will go to his account, but he is the Supreme Lord. No apapa viddham, there is no papa which can touch him. But at the same time, he can nullify all your sinful reactions. So number two is that you have to do all your activities according to Lord Krishna's order. Now the question is, how do I know what is Lord Krishna's order? So where will you find Lord Krishna's order?
Follow that manual, go into that manual, Bhagavad-Gita.
What else?
And take Guru's orders.
That's right. That's completely true. You have to have a guide who is pure representative of Lord Krishna. He will tell you exactly what Lord Krishna wants you to do, because he is in touch with Lord Krishna. That's bona fide Guru. All right. So one thing is Guru, second is Shastra, Bhagavad-Gita. Bhagavad-Gita you can study, and you can take help of a Guru who is Bhagavan Krishna's pure devotee. Then he will guide you. All right. So this was number two. Krishna also explains the Veda's purpose as being the gradual elevation of souls to Krishna consciousness. Krishna thus encourages Arjuna to remain fixed in his service of fighting and ignore the mind's desires. So that also applies to in our life. We have so many desires which are arising in our mind. Does any desire arise in a stone or a wood, a dead wood? No, there is no desire. So desire is one of the most fundamental characteristic of a spirit soul. All right. Now these desires are the ones which bind us here or take us out. If you desire that I want to enjoy this material world, you will continue taking material bodies. But if you desire spiritually, like what? That I want to serve Lord Krishna, all right, according to his order. There are so many orders given in Bhagavad-Gita. Do you know any of the orders Bhagavan Krishna has given for us to do?
Manmanabhava madbhakto.
He has said that. All right. That it says, always think of me, do my arti puja. And he says, if you love me, feed me, give me some food. So, which slow?
Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome pratyapranchati tadam bhakti uparatum ashnami pratatma.
So we have to do these practical things. You and me, we are eating every day. Nobody in this world remains without eating. All right. He has to cook and he has to eat. But Lord Krishna said, don't eat that way. All right. You offer it to me first and then eat. Why should we do that? Why?
Otherwise, Bhagavan says it's punjate te agam papa. It is
That's
going to be
true.
sin.
That's true. Then I said, okay,
Because
I don't mind suffering from sins, but why are you demanding?
Because he is the honor.
That's right. If you eat simple fruit like banana, is there any factory which makes that banana? No factory can make banana, a plastic banana like that. The real fruit is made by God. All right? That is his property. And when you offer it to him, he becomes pleased. If you do not offer it and eat it, it is as good as stealing, becoming a thief. Bhagavan Krishna says, no, you simply offer it to me, I'll accept it, and then you eat it. There is no sin incurred there. But otherwise, anyone who eats without offering me is actually incurring a lot of sins. Bhunjatete agham papa. Agham means very bad. Agham papa, ye pachanti atmakara, for himself. So all these things are explained in Bhagavad-Gita in very nice way. All right. As Krishna's explanation why Arjun should fight were only summary, and since Krishna glorifies both buddhi yoga, intelligence used in spiritual advancement of knowledge, and karma or work, Arjun becomes confused and wishes to use Krishna's instructions to perform buddhi yoga as an excuse to retire from battlefield for a life of contemplation. So Bhagavan Krishna has explained so many things in second chapter. Mainly, there are three subject matters which are explained to Arjun in that this chapter. That's why the chapter 2 title is what?
Sankhya
The
summary of Bhagavad-Gita.
The summary of whole Bhagavad-Gita is summarized like that. All right? So this is a small introduction about the second chapter, how we connect it from chapter 1 to chapter 2 like that. All right. Chapter 2 is one of the longest chapters in Bhagavad-Gita. How many chapters are there in Bhagavad-Gita?
18.
18. All right. And there are two chapters which are very long. First one is this one. How many slokas are there in second chapter?
72.
72. And 18th chapter, which is again summarization, is 78 slokas. Yesterday I explained the gist of whole Bhagavad-Gita from the first word of Bhagavad-Gita, the last word of Bhagavad-Gita. Who knows that first word is?
Dhritarashtra Uvacha. Dharmakshetre.
Uvacha is okay, but what is the first word?
Dharmakshetre.
Dharma. Right? Dharma is the first word. And the last word of Bhagavad-Gita is the last word. Sanjay Uvacha. Yatra.
Yokeshwara Krishna. Yatra Partho Dhanurjara. Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhurti Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama.
Mama is the last word.
Mama.
Mama means my. All right. So Dharma, Mama. All right. These are the two words which comprise the whole message of Bhagavad-Gita. What is my dharma? All right. So Bhagavan Krishna, what does he say about dharmas? He tells Arjun that about dharma. What does he say? In 18th chapter, he says
Sarva Dharma Parityajya.
Sarva Dharma and Parityajya. Now Bhagavad-Gita is what is my dharma? And Bhagavan Krishna said, kick out all the dharma. So what is that dharma he's talking about? What is that dharma? What is my dharma there? If he says kick out all the dharma, so which is my dharma?
Surrender it to Krishna.
The same is given in the same answer. The answer is given in the same sloka. Sarva dharman parityajya
Mam ekam.
mam ekam saranam. So mam ekam saranam vraja is the dharma he's asking us to do. Bhagavad Gita. Right? So to take shelter of Lord Krishna is the highest dharma, religious activity in human form of life. Bhagavatam says what? Savai punsam
Paro dharma yato bhakti adokshaji ahaituki apratihata yatma suprasidati.
Very good. So this is what it is. Bhagavan Krishna took his shelter, follow his teachings, and yesterday we saw that he is very much inclined towards his devotees. So much so that if you become his servant, what does he do? How does he reciprocate?
He gives himself to the servant.
Right. He becomes servant of his servant, just like he became Arjun's servant by driving his chariot. All right. So what is his name as the chariot driver of Arjun? Padma Ben, do you know that?
Parthasarthi.
Parthasarthi, very good. So this is the way to understand Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is, as yesterday we said, that the goal is Bhagavan Krishna. All right. And to develop love for him, to develop service attitude to him, and completely abolish even little enviousness we might have for Lord Krishna. Right? That is the goal of Bhagavad-Gita. Yesterday I said that one qualification required to understand this Bhagavad-Gita is to remove any enviousness in our heart towards Lord Krishna. Then you will be able to understand. And who helps this? Guru helps us in cleaning that. After you take shelter of Guru, Bhagavan Krishna himself helps. Dhunoti samalam Krishna salilasya yatha sarat. If you hear him, srunvatam sakatha Krishna. So if you hear, he enters in your heart. He's already there as Paramatma, but now he enters as Bhagavan himself and cleanses, Dhunoti. He removes all our enviousness towards him. And that's how we become eligible to serve him in his eternal abode. All right? So this is what it is. Very good. So this chapter is a long one, but I'll summarize some titles about this. In first 9 slokas, Arjun is surrendering to Lord Krishna. All right? Krishna responds to Arjun's confusion with strong critical words in first 3 slokas, and Arjuna restates his previous arguments, then becomes confused. He therefore surrenders to Krishna in the mood of a disciple, setting the proper example. He then honestly expresses his mind to his spiritual master, saying, "O Govinda, I shall not fight." All right. So the first requirement in understanding Bhagavad Gita is to submissively hear the message of pure devotee of Bhagavan Krishna, the Guru. All right. If you submissively means logically understanding. And if you have any doubt in any of that understanding, you can instantly ask the Guru and ask the question, you'll be clarified. All right. So the first requirement of Bhagavad Gita study is no enviousness toward Lord Krishna. If you do not know Lord Krishna, you should theoretically accept him as Supreme God and study him like that, theoretically. By the time you'll complete, your faith will be solidified and you will accept him as Supreme God and his teaching as final teaching, like that. So this is little bit introduction to the chapter 2. Now in the next 4 slokas, Krishna's basic instructions on the soul is given from text number 10 to 13. A truly wise person does not mistake the body to be the self. All right? Everyone, if you meet any Nobel laureate, anyone, any president, any XYZ, he thinks that I am this body. All right? If you meet somebody who is your friend, and if you're wearing black shirt, will you call him, "Oh, black shirt, how are you?" You will not call him like that. But the whole world does that. All right? Why? Because of ignorance. What is that ignorance?
And this
That
one.
this body is like a garment. The real person is inside. Because that real person is spirit soul and very minute. Minute, how minute is that?
1/10,000 of the
One
tip, the hair.
10,000 tip of hair. This is the dimension of you and me. Right? Because we are spirit, we cannot be seen by material senses. So this spirit soul is part and parcel of Lord Krishna. Mama ivanso jivaloke jivbhuta sanatana. So that's why its main dharma is to surrender to Lord Krishna, right? Become his devotee and serve him. This is what is here. So a truly wise person does not mistake the body to be self. The individual soul eternally exists and body constantly changes. Therefore, one should not abandon his religious duties due to bodily attachment. Why bodily attachment we should not consider while doing our duties? Why?
It's temporary.
Yeah, body is temporary. The relatives are temporary. All right. So the Mahatmas give this example that when a girl is married into a family, she goes to her husband. She's married to her husband. And now she develops all the relations, the husband's relative. The father, the mother, the brother, the sister of the husband now becomes her relatives. Right? This is common example. But if the woman get divorced from the husband, all these relations, will they continue? all other relations, father-in-law, mother-in-law, will they continue or will not? If she gets divorced, they will not. All right. So similarly, we are all married to Lord Krishna. Eh? And all our children, other relatives, they are all because of Lord Krishna, because they are all their spirit soul in them. So if you do not connect with Lord Krishna, all these other relations are not actually relations. But we always think in terms of that's what binds us to another body because of karma bandhan. So these are some of the understandings of Bhagavad-Gita. Therefore, one should not abandon his religious duties due to bodily attachment. The religious duty due to bodily attachment is what? There is bodily attachment and there is the religious duty. What is our religious duty? Mama dharma, sarva dharman parityajya, mamekam saranam bhaja. That is our duty. And then on the other side, we have duty for our family, which is temporary. So there will be parallel going like that. But sometimes they cross. The family duties, the bodily duties, and the religious duties, they cross. So what should we do?
Like here also, Arjuna has the same thing, like cross which dharma I have to.
Right. So what should we do? We should take shelter of Guru.
Shelter of Krishna, Guru.
And Guru will guide us. He will guide us in such a way that you can follow both the dharma, the bodily dharma, the spiritual dharma. Right? And both way you will be able to reach Lord Krishna. So that is the art. Yoga karmasu kausala. All right. So next from text 14 to 25, Krishna restates and strengthens his points to Arjuna. All right. What are these points are mentioned here? That one must execute his duty regardless of bodily inconveniences. For the soul is eternal and the body is temporary. So that's number one, that we must give preference to the spiritual duties. Number two, the soul cannot be killed and the body cannot be saved from the death. Therefore, Arjuna should not shrink from the necessity of war. Right. Now, someone say that, this war thing is bad. All war are bad or they are not bad? All the war.
No, not all wars are bad.
Yes. So all violence is not bad. Some violence is required for the punishment of criminals and maintaining peace in the society. That's why there is police force. All right. So similarly, who governs that police force? The Justice Department. All right. Lord Krishna is a supreme judge. Whatever he decides is for the good of the whole population. That's why Arjuna had to fight to remove these criminals on the other side. All right. Now Arjuna says that no, I don't want to kill those criminals because they are my relatives. Can a policeman say like that? A policeman's brother is a criminal. Can he say no, he is my brother, so let him do crime? Then he is no more policeman. Similarly, Arjuna is a policeman. All right. And he's acting under the Chief Justice, Supreme Court, Lord Krishna. That these are criminals, kill them. Now Arjuna has to kill them. If he doesn't kill, then he is not following the order of Lord Krishna. That is going to incur him sins. All right. So these are the understanding we should have. Krishna reiterates these points from different angles and quotes a Shastra to support his opinion. He then explains the soul is impervious to all material transformations. For the soul, death is simply a change of body, as commonplace as change of clothes. All right, just like we change clothes, similarly the spirit soul changes the cloth, which is the body. How many clothes does the spirit soul has in this body? How many clothes? Two types of clothes. What are those?
Shukshma and gross.
Right. The gross body is the outer garment, and the sukshma inside is the subtle body, right? Made of mind, intelligence, and ego. So these are the things like. Okay. Now next, from 26 to 30, Lord Krishna gives another argument also that some atheists they believe what? What do the atheists believe?
There's no God.
Yes, what else? About themselves or the body, what do they believe?
When we die, everything is going.
Right.
Yeah.
They say there is no spirit soul. All right. It's only body, like Charvak and company.
Yeah.
They say like that. Huh? They say like that. There is Bhasmi Bhuta say they have said,
Punaragamana Kuta.
where is the proof that the person will come back? So Lord Krishna says, if that is the argument, then what? How much is the cost of the body? The cost of body is only few dollars. In America, the funeral costs how much? Recently, I heard it costed $10,000 in New Jersey to cremate a body. But the body itself has no value, material value. Right? So why to lament something which has no material value? If you are a materialist, do not believe that. So that is another argument. But Lord Krishna says that this idea of atheistic idea is not valid. All right? The real fact is that there is a spirit soul. Now here, you and me have to believe Lord Krishna. All right? You don't have to believe Charvak. All right? So if you are faithful, if you have Shraddha, if you have no envious about Lord Krishna, then you'll accept this fact. No, the spirit soul. All these guys, let them believe whatever they believe. But for me, I understand that I am a spirit soul inside and this body is temporary. Why? I've seen my father going. I saw my mother going also. So someday I'll also have to go. Just recently, I was there in New Jersey. I saw the gentleman's body put into the incubator, and the switch was put on, and that was the end of the whole thing. We were sitting like that. So I was sitting with another friends of ours. I said, do you realize that one day we will be in that position? This is to realize that one day, not far from now, one day you and me will be in that same coffin there, somewhere else. So this is what should alert us as humans, that if this is going to be my situation, and if you're my spirit soul, what should I do now? What should we do now? All of us will have to go there. We should start doing what? Preparing. Prepare. We should start preparing. Preparing for what? Preparing for the highest benefit of having this body. And that is to get out of birth and death. To get out of birth and death, Lord Krishna gives 3 highways in this chapter. What are those?
Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga.
Bhakti Yoga. All right. Actually, these 3 highways, the 2 highways merge in the central highway. The central highway is Bhakti Yoga, and the other one is Karma and Jnana. Before you reach there, they have to merge in Bhakti in order to reach there. So the culmination is always Bhakti. So that is the whole nichod, whole gist of studying Bhagavad-Gita. What is that? To develop love for Lord Krishna by studying this Shastra. All right? Not only develop love, but actively engage in his service, just like preaching, just like distributing books, just like distributing prasadam, just like doing service to Lord Krishna in your altar at home, at temple, everywhere. Okay. Now in the next text number 31 in 30, Lord Krishna says, happiness comes from doing the duty. Arjuna argued that war would bring him unhappiness. Here, Krishna shows that abandoning the war would bring him unhappiness by creating an infamous stain in Arjuna's Kshatriya reputation. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna that people will tell bad words about you. What will people tell about Arjuna if he leaves the battle now?
He's a coward.
He'll call him coward. Anarya Justam. He says this does not qualify you. They will say, he was a woman. He left the battlefield out of fear, like that. So that's a bad, very bad, reputation for a reputed person like him. Fighting in the war, however, could bring only happiness, win or lose. If Arjuna loses, he goes to the heavenly planets. All right? And if he wins, he will enjoy the earthly kingdom. So that's how Lord Krishna changed his Arjun's mentality, what he was thinking. Krishna concludes by stating that Arjun should not make his decisions based on his material happiness. Rather, he should fight for the sake of duty and thus become purified. So this also tells us that we should do all our duties according to Lord Krishna's directive. All right? Whatever he is telling us in Bhagavad-Gita, we should live life like that. All right? That will guarantee us material happiness, also spiritual benefit. So this is the understanding we should have about Bhagavad-Gita. Now from slok 39 up to 53, action without reaction. This is called Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga also is parallel to Bhakti Yoga.
Okay.
Yes. So acting with and without Buddhi, that's what is analyzed in these slokas. The glories of Buddhi Yoga is, there are two significant glories of Buddhi Yoga. Number one, its benefits are eternal. That's number one. If you use your intelligence, spiritual intelligence, for understanding Bhagavan Krishna's message. And at the same time, it frees you from the indecisiveness. Arjun was in dilemma whether to fight or not. But if you use your spiritual intelligence all the time, you'll not be in indecisive. All right? If you are in a party and people are giving you drinking alcohol, will you decide that, oh, should I drink now? My friends are insisting, peer pressure. Should I? No. Why? Because your spiritual intelligence, what will you do? You'll instantly decide, no, this is not for me. Like that. Right? So we always say, teach your children these 4 rules. All right? So that when there is in life, there is a question, there will be no indecisiveness. Why? Because you have trained them with spiritual intelligence. These 4 things are out. No gambling, no meat eating, no illicit sex. All these things are out, no intoxication. All these things are out if you have instilled, use these. So there will be no indecisiveness in your life. You will be able to decide there and then. What are the faults of acting without buddhi? Those who act without knowledge become enamored by opulence and enjoyment and follow only the portions of the Vedas that grant material boons. So I was with a gentleman in New Jersey recently. Yeah, he's a very rich man. He has 110 Dunkin' Donuts. 110, yeah, with partners, like, and so many motels and all that. He's actually my cousin. So this guy, I was talking, and I came to know that his idea of is to do good to others. Right? This is what is the highest spiritual idea, like that. So I explained to him that doing that without bringing Lord Krishna in transaction is going to bind you. Right? This he was a little bit not very decided about. So he says, I'll have to think over this, that, like that. So this is what they mean, say, great grand material boons. Such persons never develop steadiness or determination. Right? Therefore, one should rise above the materialistic portion of the Vedas by knowing their purpose is to serve Lord Krishna. Traigunya Visaya Veda. All these Vedas, they've got majority is what? Majority is Karma Kand.
Karma Kand.
All right? This Karma Kand is good in one way. What is that way? Compared to atheism.
Yeah, at least you are taking shelter of higher
authority. Yeah, so that's how it actually brings to a proper position from where now you can develop further, like that. So Karma Kand is the first stage from where you can develop Gnan Kand. Gnan Kand is then you will understand that, I'm asking so many boons from these demigods, right? But who are they? And am I going to get the ultimate benefit out of them? Ultimate benefit is moksha. These he comes to know from learned people, that all this material opulence is going to higher planets. They are all temporary. Brahma bhuna loka punaravtari. Everywhere there is death. So he will say, what is the use of making so much money if I have to live and go away? So this is why he develops Gnan. Again, developing Gnan, if he still is not surrendered in service to Lord Krishna, he will still hover on that plane, now in a higher stage, but still he will not get the ultimate benefit. So when he comes to bhakti, that's where he will be able to get. That's why Lord Krishna says, Baunam Janmanamante, Gnanvan Mam Prapadyate. When he has developed Gnan all over so many births, then he understands that, the real purpose of that Gnan is to serve Lord Krishna. However, to engage in such detached, beautiful activity, one must become disinterested in all hopes of sense gratification, typically promised in Vedic Karmakand. Being thus fixed, one achieves Samadhi. So these are some of the things here about talking about Buddhi Yoga. Then what are the symptoms of one in Buddhi Yoga are described from 54 to 72. That Buddhi Yoga is actually Sthita Pragnasya ka bhasa. What is who my mind is fixed in this buddhi, in this gland, right? What are his like? So there are these questions which Arjun asked. Okay, what are the general symptoms of the one who is now fixed in samadhi? How does he speak? How does he sit? And how does he walk? So general symptoms then regarding his vocabulary, his bhasa. Then how does he sit means how does he restrain himself, and how does he walk means how engage in activities. So this is summarized in the last section. The general symptom of self-realized soul is that he renounces all desires for sense gratification and enjoys pleasure within himself. This is general. These are all his material desires, all right, for sense gratification leaves away. All right. That's how can he live away? By engaging himself in Krishna consciousness all the time. Right? The more he goes towards Krishna consciousness, the lesser the sense gratification. So this is the secret. If you decide yourself, I'll chant 16 rounds, at least those 16 rounds time, you will not engage in any sense gratification. Right? Okay, I'll do Aarti Puja morning and evening. That half an hour, you will not get sense gratification. Right? When you are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, you are hearing this course, all these things, you are not engaging sense gratification. All these are spiritual activities. Right? So this is what is the first symptom of person who is becoming self-realized. How does he speak? He neither praises nor condemns the duality of mundane goodness and evil. This is good, this is bad. He is not interested. Why? Because all these are temporary. The only good is what? What is the only good?
Bhakti.
Bhagavan Krishna, anything dovetailed in service of Lord Krishna, that is good. Why? Because it is spiritual and it will liberate you. It will liberate you from the bondage of physical body. Now, how does he sit? Means he can perfectly withdraw his senses from the sense objects because he has a higher taste of spiritual bliss gained by focusing the mind on Krishna. So which animal is there which can withdraw its senses? Like eyes. Which slok? Bhagavan Krishna speaks this slok. Yada samharte. How does that?
Urmo angani sarvasya.
Indriyani. Indriyarthe. So this is what it is. You see, if you see something like Bhagavan Krishna's picture, you see, you feel good. You see Prabhupada's picture behind me, they're good. But if you see a naked woman and something, no, this is garbage. There's no use. Right? So this is how he uses his senses, the tongue. How the tongue? Tongue he uses only for speaking Bhagavan Krishna's katha. He doesn't gossip around and talk about all this garbage, He talks about Lord Krishna. He talks about Krishna Katha in the current context because he's living in material world. So material things are there. So as soon as he is in any material context, he reflects and see what is the spirituality behind this. And the other function of the tongue is to eat. Right? It doesn't eat meat, eggs, mas machi. It doesn't. He eats only Krishna prasadam, patram, pushpam, phalam. So this is how he can withdraw his senses. There is no other effective means to control the senses. If not fixed on Krishna, the mind fixates on sense objects and thus inevitably drags into illusion. Dhyayate Vishayan Punsa.
Dhyayate Vishaya Punsam Sangasteshu Upajayate Sanga Sanjayate Kama Kama Krodha Abhijayate.
Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha.
Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha Sammoham Smruti Vibrama. Smruti Pranashat Buddhi Nasho Buddhi Nashat Pranashati.
Buddhi Nasat Pranasati. What is that Buddhi? That Buddhi is that I'm spirit soul. And this mind, I have to control it. That is the Buddhi. Not that the mind will control my Buddhi. That's how we can divert our own destruction. Destruction means what? Repeating another, now next time become another man, this, that. That's futile. Okay, now the final section is how does he walk? Okay, so how does he engage his senses? When engaging his senses, he does so with regulations and religious principles. The senses like procreation. Everyone has to have family. Bhagavan Krishna says, what about that? Dharmo viruddha kamo asmi. Right? So the legal married life is Bhagavan Krishna is myself. He does so with regulation and religious methods. Thus his senses become satisfied and his mind becomes peaceful. Without such regulated engagement, agitated senses search for satisfaction in sense objects, thus dragging the devotee into illusion. Although the sensory engagements of a self-realized soul appear similar to the activities of materialists, they are as different as night and day. For unlike the common man, the actions of a Buddhi yogi are not driven by desire, but by false ego. So the conclusion is one must be situated in spiritual intelligence to enter the kingdom of God. So this was the summarization of second chapter, and the main theme of chapter is that when one comes to the realization that there is no shelter in this material world, including his own material mind and intelligence, he will take full shelter of a spiritual authority. That is like Guru Arthra, just like Arjun did that. That's the main theme of the first section. The second section, the main theme is the spirit soul is eternal and indestructible, while material nature is temporary. Because of this, one should not be bewildered by the inevitable destruction of the material body. Rather, one should remain fixed in prescribed duties, which purify and allow one to realize the eternal self. And in the final section, the main theme is that material happiness comes from proper execution of one's dharma. Neglect of dharma brings material downfall. So here, what dharma is talking about? Varnashram dharma. All right. So Varnashram dharma is created by Lord Krishna. And at the end, he says, remove that dharma. But within Varnashram dharma, you have to do the same thing. What is that? Surrender to Lord Krishna. That is a slok which says, Varnashram acharvata purushen parah puman Vishnu raradyate pantha nanyat totsas karanam. So the whole design of Varnashram dharma is to take us to Vishnu Aradhana, Bhagavan Krishna's Aradhana, like that. So this is in a nutshell about the okay. And there is another one. He says that one's consciousness determines the bondage of an activity, not the activity itself. One will remain free from bondage if his actions are guided by a conception of eternal spiritual self. So these are some of the main themes here. One who is fixed in Krishna consciousness is beyond the disturbances of external material phenomena. He can experience transcendence even while in this body. Jivan Mukta Sauchya. So this is in short. This course was done by Vrindavan Institute for Higher Education. They are the ones who have compiled this summary and like that. So it's a deep subject matter, but we are just touching the surface only. Everybody should go deep into the Bhagavad-Gita as it is, and then we can develop like that. So it's almost 1 hour now. Any question or anything you have? I thought some other people would join. Yesterday there was one Mataji, her name was Lucinda. She was an old white lady. Today she didn't come. Aruni Ben was also there, and her daughter was also there. Okay, whoever listens, even very little, they all get benefit of Bhagwan.
વર્ણાશ્રમ આચાર્યવત્તા વાળો શ્લોક શેમાં છે?
Vishnupura. Varnashram acharvata purushen parahuman. Vishnor aradyate pantha nanyat tattos karanam. That's in Vishnu Puran 3.8.9. Varnashram acharvata purushena parah puman. Vishnur aradyate pantha nanyat tattos karanam.
3.8.9.
Yes.
389. Okay.
Vishnu Puran.
Okay.
Okay, so we will meet again for the 3rd chapter tomorrow. We'll just go like this outline. It will take about 1 hour like that. So tell others also if they can.
Yeah.
Like that. So that,
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you, Krishna.
Just give
Namaste.
Jai Shri Krishna. Yeah.
Jai Shri Krishna.
There was one
Krishna.
YouTube I posted yesterday. There is a group known as Japa Sangh, Bhakti Sangh Jap. So they yesterday when I was giving this class, somebody called from India and they say, you have to give the class tomorrow morning. I didn't know what they were doing Bhagavad. I've been attending that for about 4 weeks or so, but last week because I was in New Jersey, I could not. But then they called me and said that tomorrow you'll have to give class. So and this class starts at 4:20 a.m. So I had to wake up 3:30, take a shower, and then give the class. So I have posted that in our place. If you have time, you can.
રેકોર્ડિંગ કરેલું છે?
Yeah, it's recorded on YouTube.
આપણામાં ગ્રુપમાં મૂક્યું છે?
Yeah, I have put in the group also.
And so, Pankaj bhai, like if sometimes if we want to join them in the japa, how long is that class?
It starts at 4:20 and it completes at 5:20, but then they're just like question answer we have. So it prolongs. But if you want to get only the speaker like that, then you can stay up to 5:20 like that.
So every day somebody
It's every day.
leads it?
Every day a new person, bolo, all over the world, and there are about 250 people there on that Zoom, and they get very erudite scholars from
So
all
it is
over.
in the morning. It is in
the morning, 4:20 a.m. So
sometimes, yeah, if we can join
Well,
and see how.
on East Coast it is at 7:20, but for us it is 4:20 like that. But anyway, it's good to wake up very early if you can. I was actually thinking that, how can I get up so early? And when this came, I said, now I have to. That's how it was good like that. So very good. So we'll again meet tomorrow for the 3rd time.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hari.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. Krishna Paramahansa. Hari.